Space is big. Really big. You just won't believe how vastly, hugely, mind-bogglingly big it is. That's an easy line to quote. It's also easy for me to simply tell you that each of these flecks of light is an entire galaxy. But the human mind just isn't capable of comprehending the scale of this swatch, or the scale of an individual galaxy, or the scale of a solar system. It's so far beyond our day-to-day experiences that if I say a spaceship is 1 trillion kilometers away from Earth, you probably wouldn't know where to point on this model of the Milky Way. I can't even show you the answer. The Earth is covering the spot up. For the purposes of this review, we can divide astronomical distances into 2 categories: intrastellar, distances measured within a single solar system, and interstellar, distances between 2 or more solar systems. If a film is exclusively doing intrastellar travel, you're nearly guaranteed it'll be within our solar system, not another. While several films never make it beyond the Earth-Moon system, interstellar travel usually sends our characters to other planets. Jupiter, Saturn, Mars. As far as genre is concerned, this is certainly thriller's domain. 10 of the 12 reviewed films took place in interstellar space. Drama was the only other genre with more than 50%. And apparently they'd have you believe there's nothing fantastic about our solar system. We have a planet populated entirely by robots. How is that not fantastic? For many of these movies, the character's travel time is currently achievable by real unmanned spacecrafts. For trips that take a couple of years to get to Jupiter or Saturn, that's a bit quicker, but no one's breaking the rule in special relativity that says nothing can travel through space faster than the speed of light. The extreme example comes from 1997's Event Horizon, whose characters travel to Neptune in a mere 56 days. Such a relatively fast trip requires a lot of acceleration, 30 Gs the film reports. That's going to make the characters feel 2 tons heavier. That's why they travel in these fluid-filled grav couches for protection. But what if I don't want to get to Neptune? What if I want to get to, say, the nearest habitable planet, which happens to be orbiting another star? The nearest star to our solar system, Proxima Centauri, is 40 trillion kilometers away. That's a lot of zeros to wrap your head around. So let's scale it down. Let's place our sun on the roof of the White House, and Proxima Centauri at 10 Downing Street. New Horizons would have made it all the way to just past 11th Street, less than a kilometer away. It would take 800 million years to arrive on number 10's doorstep. Even at the speed of light, it'd take over 4 years. Now, not all stars in the galaxy are this far apart, but films often require characters to travel from one end of the galaxy to the other, a trip that would take light 100,000 years. As a mortal moviegoer, I can't sit through an accurate representation of that. This is why filmmakers generally use one of 3 options. 1. They invent a technology that allows faster than light travel. Warp drives, hyperdrives, hyperactive hyperdrives. If we count franchises as a single entity, 13 chose this option. But I will note that sometimes they forget the sheer difference between FTL and sublight speeds. In The Empire Strikes Back, the Millennium Falcon's hyperdrive breaks down, and Han and the gang fly from an asteroid near the ice planet of Hoth to Cloud City in practically no time at all, even though the 2 worlds don't share a star. This leads me to option number 2. They ignore the distance. This is especially true when there's some element of a ticking clock in the plot, or traversing the void of space just isn't relevant to the storytelling. In Zathura, a magical board game whisks a house from Earth to Saturn's rings to a random star named Zorus 3, each within an instant. Space acts as a background to inspire thrill and wonder, and we wouldn't get that if the kids died of old age waiting to get from one planet to the other. Speaking of avoiding old age, option 3. They compensate by introducing some sort of suspended animation. Have the crew hibernate during transport. This can also be done for intrastellar travel. Sometimes the passage of time for the rest of the universe is acknowledged, sometimes it's ignored. For interstellar trips, the time spent in hibernation is never long enough to not also require FTL speeds. You might be wondering about a 4th option. Introduce something that allows instantaneous travel between 2 points in space. But that's not travel through space, that's wormhole talk, and we'll get to it in another video. This focus on ships and passengers ignores something in our discussion on travel time. Communications also need to cross the near vacuum of space. Most of our movies that take place in interstellar space acknowledge the time delay between communications to and from Earth. Maintaining a realistic delay can amplify emotion via trepidation, and therefore make the movie more emotionally engaging, for both the characters and the audience. But as soon as we move beyond a single solar system, it would take anywhere from years to millennia for a signal to be received. The Star Trek universe uses subspace channels to send messages at sometimes instantaneous speeds, but it's rare for interstellar films to acknowledge something similar. This problem also applies to anything else that would travel at the speed of light, including giant space lasers. The vast void of space is going to present a problem in a lot of movies, but that's where good writing comes in. We should all be willing to suspend some disbelief for an engaging story. But don't force me to read the novelization to find out how all 5 planets get targeted with a single beam, and the New Republic's destruction is somehow instantly visible to the rebels on a planet in a completely different star system. I'll just go watch Alderaan get blown up again. The Death Star was actually in the right system. Thanks for watching the second in this 4-part video series. In the next video, I will do everything I can not to get that Muse song stuck in my head. Again. But if you're done watching, and you'd like to help me complete my dissertation, please click on the link here or in the description below to give feedback.